In this video, we're going to be going behind the mix and breaking down how my most recently released music, Joy, was produced. They were going to be, as usual, breaking down the mix, diving into, the nooks and crannies of the song, how I produced this, the sounds I used to, get that mix to sit right. So if you are, having a hard time struggling with your mix, this is a very good opportunity for you to, go behind the curtains and seeing how the things actually came together to work out. All right. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right in. All right, guys. So first of all, let's go ahead and listen to the intro, the beginning of the track. Yeah, in the morning, every day, all around me, everywhere, everybody, we proclaim we're his people. So in all situations, we got joy, 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 we got. Okay, so that is that for that. And to break it down, it starts with this melody loop right here. And then next to that, we have this drum pattern right here. Okay, so if we have to break this down, first of all, it starts with the kick right here. Then we go to a clap. Okay. Then next to that, we have this percussion loop. Okay, then next to that, we have this hi-hat loop. Then this open hi-hat sample. Then we have this top loop right here. It's still like a drum loop, but just the tops without the kick. Then all together, all these are routed to a drum bus, and if you're to mute the drum bus, mute the effect on the drum bus, this is how it sounds. If you are to omit it, carries way more punch than it used to. When I'm using the drum bus, most of the effects I add are just very subtle effects. As you can see, I kind of boosted the high end frequencies over here, then a compressor, and then a saturator. All right, so sometimes I usually add a sound equalizer on the drum bus, but a couple of times I usually used to add it and then hear how it sounds. If it's sounding too much, I just take it off. As you can see, there's no sound equalizer here, so we just have a parametric EQ, compressor, and then a saturator, which is just very, very subtle. And basically, that was it for mostly the beginning. Then over here at this section, we have some effects that we added. We have the 808. Okay, we have this sub bass. And then lastly, we have this lead right here. Okay, for the 808, these are how it was processed. A sound equalizer, parametric EQ, took out some of the low end frequencies. We have a peak controller. Then we have another EQ to take out the high end frequencies, a saturation for saturation, and then also a limiter lastly for sidechain compression on the kick. So if you have to play the kick right here, anytime the kick hits, it goes down and compresses it. All right, so that is that for that. For the sub bass, simply just a sub. Just the effect right here, and then also we have the kick affecting this right here, and then lastly we have this lead. Now it's all the effects turned off on the lead. This is how it sounds. So this is really turned on, off, and on. So there were a whole lot of processes that went into here. First of all, you can see we have took out a whole lot of the low and high end frequencies to get just this portion in the mids. Okay, sound godizer way up to the top, way up to the top. And then we have a bit of distortion, a parametric EQ. So you can see we are still emphasizing on these frequencies. This is turned off. This is turned on. Very, very subtle difference, but it makes a whole lot of difference, most especially when other elements come in. And then we have another parametric EQ to take down some of those harsh frequencies. Then we have a reverb on this. We have a saturation on this. And then lastly, we also have another parametric EQ to also still emphasize those high-end frequencies. And then lastly, right here, we have the vocals. In the morning, every day, all around me, everywhere, everybody. We proclaim we are his people. So in all situations, we got joy. We got joy. All right. So for effects on vocals, the same thing, same categories of plugins. Okay. First of all, we have our parametric EQ right here. So as you can see, we used this and we took down some of those low end frequencies that we always do not need. All right. We don't need that. We don't need that. All right. Then next up, we have the compression to compress the vocal to make it constant and balanced. Then we have a sound equalizer here. We have a saturation, took it up to this point, left it at the neutral. We have a parametric EQ to shape the frequencies of the vocal. Then we have another parametric EQ to tame those harsh frequencies. And then lastly, we have these two EQs again, just to, fine tune the whole, the whole vocals to make it actually sit right in the beat. And then lastly, we have a DSR to, tame those S frequencies. So without all the effects turned on, these are it sounds. In the morning, every day, all around me, everywhere, everybody. And then I'm to play the entire beat. In the morning, every day, all around me. Maybe I'm turning back everywhere, on. Everybody, we proclaim we're his people. So in all situations, we got joy. We got joy. We got joy. We got. All right, so that is that for that. Very exciting indeed. The next up, we have the verse one. All right, and it actually starts with the same drum pattern, but what was added was we added these few elements right here. All right, so first of all, we have this right here, and this is just a vocal sample. That's just that, just fits into the entire beat. So if you had to turn off all the effects on the this vocal sample, this is how it sounds. All right, then under that, we have this right here. In addition to that, we have this. All together. Look up on my ride, it's got 100 to call into what I see. Me, I nothing lose. I got Jesus from my side, me, I just a cruise. Okay, so these two are simply just plucks. Okay, we have this right here, simply just a pluck. So we have this right here, and this just has this effect here. We have a sound godizer, a parametric EQ, and a fruity blood overdrive. So, and it's all routed to a boss track, as you can see right here. Both of them are both routed to this track, as you can see from this bottom orange line right here. All right, so that's that for that. And then while entering into the next segment, we have a couple of things going on right here. So let's go ahead and have a listen. The whole low pass effect is being affected by everything. Okay, so all this are affected by a low pass effect, and this is what is happening right here. So this affects everything. That's why all these are routed. As you can see, this right here is routed over to this track. As you can see, this is a low pass bus. Even the drums also. All right, so you notice that all these elements are being routed to that low pass bus. Then for this next one, it affects the riser, which is this right here. All right, so this is what it affects right here. As you can see, this gradually goes up. And if you want to know more about automations, okay, there's a link in the description that goes into extreme details where I'm diving into just automations, how to create this kind of automations within, within the project itself. All right, so we have that going on. And that's actually sums it up. But before that, we have these three elements that we added. This and this. So, and then lastly, we have this right here. All right, and then all together they come to this.
But my ride is got a hundred to call into what I see. Me, I nothing lose. I got Jesus for my side. Me, I just a cruise.
All right, and that is that for that section. Okay, so if you want to dive deeper into this, mixing process, you're tired of hearing so much theory, you want, more hands-on practical experience. All right, I'm gonna be starting a mixing academy very soon. It's gonna be online where I take a couple of students and I guide them focus more on your practical skills. The whole program is gonna last for 8 weeks, so we're gonna dive into a whole lot of details as it goes. So if you're a home producer, you produce your own music, you mix your own music, and you're having a hard time, trying to get that mix to actually sit right, you're having a hard time trying to get the vocals to sit right, this is something you actually struggle with. All right, this program is exactly for you. So there's a link in the description to join the waiting list so that you receive updates, information on how the process is going, and most importantly when it's starting, so you can jump right in as soon as possible. Right, and next up we have the chorus, okay, where everything now comes in. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a listen to this right here.
In the morning, every day, all around me, everywhere, everybody, we proclaim we're his people. So in all situations we got joy, 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 we got.
All right, and I have to add the extra that comes after the chorus.
Joy, we got joy, we got joy, we got.
It's as I'm seeing me through. It's as I'm seeing you too. It's as I'm seeing me through. It's as I'm seeing you.
Okay, so the main, all these things, there's technically no new element here. It's just the vocals. Like you can see, this beginning here is the same melody as the one at the beginning. Then we have the sub bass that came in. Okay, and then we have the lead also that also came in at this point. All right, so basically the only major element right here is just the vocals. Okay, and the way the vocals went is we have the main vocals right here. Okay, then we have an ad-lib vocals. Okay, then we have 4 background vocals right here.
In the morning, every day, all around me, everywhere, everybody, we proclaim we're his people. In all situations we got joy, we got joy.
And all these ones right here are just the chants of the joy. So we have a couple of multiple takes of this. All right, we have quite a ton of them.
Joy, 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 joy.
All right, so and all these were panned differently to the left, to the right at different percentages. Okay, and then when you bring all of them together,
Joy, joy,
with the background vocals also and the main vocals, we have this.
joy, we got joy, we got joy, we got joy, we got joy.
Okay, so that sums it up for that section. And then basically that is it for this beat. For the verse 2, it's just technically the same thing but just a different arrangement, but technically the same elements. All right. And then lastly, we have the outro chorus, which is technically just the same thing as the beginning chorus.